they're saying right now is the driver of the vehicle is a kidnapping suspect. Take a look at that, though. This driving extremely fast and making the radical moves out here. They were coming northbound on the 405. Now they turned around and now they're heading back south again. Not sure of the plan. I don't know where this guy's going, but I can tell you, very
405 southbound. That is the voice of Stu Mundell, back in the air for Sky Fox. What's up, Noti Gang? Welcome in. Welcome back. Had ourselves a chase a little bit earlier today. All I know about this one is the finish is crazy. So with all of that said, I have no clue what happens here. What feels like every single day. And this is some pretty, we're on the 405 southbound on the shoulder in the middle of traffic, by the way.
It's a breakdown lane.
We know in those breakdown lanes on the shoulder, there's all sorts of debris.
I think Venice is going to be the next off-ramp.
My neck of the woods on the west side. This is 100 miles an hour. Apparently the want is an alleged domestic violence suspect, is what I was told. But we are flying down the 405, which is about 6 to 7 lanes of freeway here. Going across the spearhead, there's going to be a...
It is just making me nervous watching these maneuvers.
It's been a minute since we've had ourselves a Stu Mundell chase, so in honor of him, despite it being a replay, boogity, boogity, boogity!
What's going on, and they could
let's go chasing. White Dodge Charger. Of course it's a Dodge Charger. Big Moody, sub-dubs in the chat for Big Moody, giving out 5 tier 1 subs to the community. Hopefully most of you have waited until now to catch up on this, as that was a spearhead. Multiple spearheads in the middle of the 405 here as we come out of Sawtell to Venice, headed down to Marina del Rey, the 90 freeway. This is insane, 85 miles an hour in the shoulder.
Passing these cars like they're passing picket fences, and continuing on. If any of these, if there's a problem in the roadway, a blockage that's gonna have to come to a stop.
Way too close. Way too close.
Very good thing, but right now,
I don't know what happens to these drivers, man, when they become the NASCAR drivers anytime that they're involved in chases. Maybe it's the adrenaline pumping and your reaction speed is significantly more than normal.
We are hearing it. They're talking about re-engaging that pursuit, but they've got to get units in position. They've got to call ahead, make sure there's somebody.
Once again, if you are in the chat, spoiler, it's on the screen for a reason as we almost drive off of the 405 into a bush, and now there's another spearhead with a sudden curve over there.
I feel that Jeff is climbing and climbing, so Jeff's our pilot this morning.
Oh my God, that is incredibly reckless.
Bill, I guess we're taking an off-ramp, and so that's a good thing for us because we're making our way into LAX's airspace.
I have no clue how long this chase is. I'm watching this for the first time. I was busy doing my radio show and I missed it a little bit earlier. So it's live to me and it's live to a lot of people in the chat. So if you spoil anything, true or false, if you're just trolling, you will be snap banned with no recovery. Now we're just stopped. What are we doing? What are we doing? We're just doing reverse on the 405. Jefferson Boulevard behind. It's probably thinking there's traffic on the 405. Now we're doing a 3-point turn, and Austin Powers challenge underneath this overpass and interchange at the 405, as busy as it gets.
And now we're going to be on surface streets. You know, there is an opportunity to get back onto what I thought.
Someone in the chat said it was a Mustang. No, that's actually a Dodge Charger. Often confused with the Mustang, but that's a Dodge Charger. You can tell by the hood and the engine in front. It's always something new. Oh my God.
Talking about that, I think, and these are those type of maneuvers. It could be so tragic for any of
the handle on this vehicle,
even
man.
That driver, the suspect in this vehicle, trying to get away, and get away from what? Right now, it's the helicopters above him. These maneuvers, they're not changing anything.
It's been a while since we've had a Stu chase.
The public at risk. If the LAPD had a vehicle behind it, this is not a commentary. This isn't anything like that. Maybe there'd be some lights and sirens. But even with this kind of reckless driving, LAPD would even trained drivers.
I didn't see that there was a Chicago chase.
Safely.
Is it today?
And that's what the law enforcement has to do. Right now, the helicopter's making calls. Everybody's keeping an
Dude,
eye
we're
on
doing
it.
80 miles an hour on an, is this an off ramp?
Wait a minute, is it a transition or an off?
This might be the 90.
We're going to be getting off the freeway
No.
once again. Maybe he's looking for something out here in the West LA area, but this one is going to be tight right there. He's
Culver
kinda stuck.
Boulevard.
And
This guy's
is
not
one of
getting
those
out of the way. He has no clue what's
opportunities where
happening.
law enforcement- There they are. Hello.
Oh, they're still, oh my God, how are they attached? How are they so close after the way he was recklessly driving? 1-2 units there too.
To an end. Right now, though, we're going to wait and see where he pops out. There he is. And now it is a full-on pursuit. You got the LAPD in the air and on the ground.
Intersection.
And
There's LAPD units there on Sawtell Boulevard, headed towards the west side. That Dodge Charger looks to be intact.
Sirens might be able to warn the public.
Looks like he's getting back on.
I don't think Stu's gonna lose
Yet
this one
again,
because we're not downtown.
Stu, you said this is a
Stu,
possible
downtown
kidnapping
is Stu's
suspect. Do we know if
kryptonite.
he's the only person in the car? Were you able to zoom in and see when he was on the surface streets?
Yeah, it's funny. We were just talking about really tinted windows. It looks
Yeah.
like there is a passenger. I would venture to say there is a passenger right there. That's we can use the digital doubler, but maybe it was
Dude,
shadows,
those
but,
maneuvers on the freeway. That guy was doing 90. This guy's doing 90 miles an hour on the shoulder like it's nothing. Look at all of these cars trying to veer out of the way because they see this bullet coming up on the side, man. Here's the Marina Del Rey exit to the 90 coming up.
Possible domestic violence victim inside that vehicle. So it's constantly
Oh,
changing.
God, I thought there was a...
But right now, what I can tell you,
I thought there was going to be another one. Oh, that's a giant, usually a giant metal spearhead that separates the freeway from the off ramps, and we're just swerving in front of them at 80 miles an hour. If you so much as miss a second of that, you're going to be Final Destination impaled. Now we're just now we're losing control. If that happens when you're in front of the spearhead, you're dead.
Of the road, but yeah, Sentinel will be coming up fairly shortly, and we'll see what he does here. But it looks like, as we were saying, he's
23
seems to be
Synapse
moving in and out of
says-
these lanes, emergency lanes, on ramps.
Says it
off
is
ramps,
a
and
Mustang,
just kind of
not a
using the
Charger.
road as carte
Well,
blanche
the good
right
news for
now.
us is we
And
have
going
artificial
very, very
intelligence in
fast.
the chat. Can someone, our Nightbot, will be able to identify what the car is in real time?
Possibly he's lost the front driver's side tire. So if that's the case, at these high speeds, that wobble we're seeing, it might get a lot worse. And those fast lane changes, I don't know if that's attributed to the fact that he is missing, it might be having a low tire, or possibly just, who knows? Who knows? Maybe this is one of those emotional moments. This person is trying to get away. Now I'm going to say nobody in the passenger seat. As we're kind of looking in there, the window is down. So, maybe this is just emotional. Maybe there was some sort of situation. Domestic violence is what we're hearing. So who knows what's going through this driver's mind.
Look at how
But I'm just
fast.
telling you,
Crazy
the public
speeds, man.
safety is really what I'm worried about.
Sorry, I'm
Yep,
just
and we're
banning
coming up
some
on
people in
stop
the
traffic
chat.
Here, a red light. This could, thank goodness for some of these other cars in the way. But at any rate, you're going to keep an eye on it. I just don't want to see this end badly.
Thank you, Stu.
I know the way we are right now. Oh,
My.
again, a reverse.
Yeah, he's getting pinched. He really does not want to make any stops whatsoever on this road.
Well,
or any
now
of
there's
these
some
roads.
traffic. Like you have no choice at this point, so you
Always a
can either.
Prius.
115 miles an hour on the 90.
And I don't know what this is all about, but this.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm
Now we
gonna
just
stay
pull
a
over.
little bit- I'm going to stay a little bit wider.
Sure.
Oh my
Just
God,
like
we
I
are.
said,
What is this random ass Dodge Charger doing?
I don't
Get out of there,
see
silver
a
Dodge
situation
Charger.
where it
Go in
might be,
reverse. Why are you parked
suicide
over
by
there?
Officer or some kind of situation like that. Clearly, that driver not in a solid, state right now. So, going to stay a little bit wider. I'm going to take a peek real quick, but then I'm going to go wide again. But just to see what that driver's doing, if we can see him through that front windscreen.
Doge?
Coming to a stop like that with the officers in this type of confrontation.
It's not always a Prius, yeah.
You just I'm
Get
gonna
this
stay
Dodge
careful
Charger
watching
out of
the
there.
video so we don't see anything.
Unless that Dodge Charger is undercover.
A little bit wider if something does unfold.
There's a civilian vehicle, and it looks like officers just got that individual out of the car, obviously for their own safety. That just kind of got trapped in the back there.
Is this
They
guy
got
just
settled in
leaving his
an
car,
innocent
getting out of there? Go
civilian
stand over there?
got caught up in all
Okay.
of this. Right
We're headed to a
behind that vehicle,
standoff
they got
situation.
him out of the car. Everyone else cleared the way. They saw
Right.
that something's going on here. It is so tinted.
Tell me if I miss
those
anything.
windows.
I'm
It is
busy
so
banning
hard
people
to
in the
make
chat.
out anything.
And I'm sure officers are being cautious for that reason. They don't necessarily know what's going on inside that car. But they're being careful now. I guess it's up to them to start
Are
negotiating
we smoking?
with the driver and
Is the car smoking? Probably from all the
to
speed.
see what the next move might be.
I'm seeing something in that passenger window, or is that a reflection, you think, from the outside? It's hard to make
Prince
out.
in the chat says, I'm pretty sure it's a Dodge Charger. I've seen a few in my day. Thank you. So many people. I see a second person. We are very fidgety.
Officers are behind you, reaching around, grabbing stuff underneath the seat, any kind of motions like that. Definitely officers, if they would see this.
Why are
and
they
I think
whispering?
The helicopter is talking about it. And again, I would venture to say
There's definitely a
there is
passenger in that car.
There are two people.
Is the smoke
in that
coming
car.
from the car's engine or the passenger side? Are we smoking something
Go ahead.
before we get arrested?
It almost appears the driver is
Female
making
passenger, we're being
contact
told.
with the passenger.
Yeah.
It looks like he's or she, we don't know, grabbing
Yeah.
the person in that seat. I see some kind of
There's definitely some
struggle.
sort of physical confrontation happening inside that car.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like he's moving stuff around. He looked like he picked up a cup and put it back into the cup holder. I'm not, who knows what's going through any of these suspects' minds when they're going through these chases. LAPD, I'm sure they're making calls right now telling this person to get out of the vehicle, possibly the passenger to get out of the vehicle. Why isn't the passenger getting out of the vehicle?
That is a
there's
shit ton
a
of
lot
cops.
questions in my mind about
Jesus,
what's
look
going
at that
on. We'll
nest.
figure this stuff out later. I can tell you right now, the 90, they've shut it down completely. A lot of these other vehicles are probably going to have to
Look at all of those
or back out,
units.
turn around. But LAPD out
This
here
is more than the
right now,
Anaheim
probably
PD
more for the public
the other night.
safety, as the other vehicles are still
That
on
suspect
off
is
ramp at
deceased,
the end
by
of
the way.
90 freeway out here, but you can see that the suspect not getting out of the vehicle, the passenger also apparently not getting out of the vehicle, and this kind of makes more questions that, in my mind, about what was going on. That vehicle, I don't think it ran out of steam. The possibility of it starting up and driving off again is definitely still there. So I've been wondering if LAPD is going to try to block Mindanao Way. But at any rate, right now, we're just kind of waiting and
Man,
seeing
that is a
what
busy
driver is
thoroughfare
gonna do.
coming off the
And
90.
the
Mindanao
doors
Red
open.
take you.
That's okay.
Oh, doors open.
Yeah.
Doors open. We're looking back at the police. We're having some words. We're negotiating in real time.
They're surrounding him right now on edge. They're probably trying to talk him down and make sure that this is a peaceful surrender. It looks like he kind of climbed. He's trying to get out. I don't know. Can you zoom in?
Do you
on
guys
him
see a
more
Doge?
so we can see if he's?
Oh, we are very agitated.
You have to keep
Given the gabagoo.
your distance.
Given the oh.
He's talking
If he
to
has a
him.
weapon or something like that, it looks like It looks like
We're wearing some Dodgers gear.
These are those super tense situations.
Also has a wrist brace on?
where,
Oh, okay.
Officers, they are, they're on edge. That driver clearly in an emotional state. Probably a lot of adrenaline as well. So.
Oh, doors closed,
rational
doors
decisions,
open.
I
What-
don't really know. But
What are we doing?
Yeah, it's like basically, it's like he's saying, "Hey, come to me." That's
Come
what
to
I'm
me.
saying.
Right.
It's
Come to
body
me.
language.
All right. Yeah, kind of.
I don't see any weapons. It looks like he's got a phone and a driving glove on. So, maybe he is a professional driver. Who knows? But at any rate, getting back into the car. But the passenger.
Come to me with a
that
Doge.
passenger just hasn't gotten out and walked over to the.
Well,
law
in
enforcement.
all fairness, you don't know if that passenger was being threatened or perhaps the suspect has.
I don't think it was a
weapon. You
driving
don't know.
glove. I think he was holding something in his
For
hand.
whatever
Look
reason,
at
that
all of
person
those
is
cops. That's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's almost 20 cops.
But you do have a number of officers there. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm looking at like six, 7 different cars right now surrounding this vehicle. He did, just a moment ago. It looked like he tried to get out, but now he's shut himself.
Some
back
damage
in
to the
car.
front right. That had
Who
to be
knows
from
what he was
all
saying
the.
to
That's a
officers.
potential tire rub if you were to drive away. And what did we see the other night? Multiple Paul Walker challenges. Stop, go, drop the passenger off. We are not even close to code 4. We're just in a standoff stage at the moment. We have seen some crazy shit happen during standoffs.
Definitely that vehicle. It was driving pretty hard there for a little bit. I would venture to say those are the brakes still cooling down. But law enforcement, they just want to get this guy into custody, get him away from that vehicle as quickly as possible.
He's just asking to pet the Doge.
There's some less than
Yeah, there's
lethal,
some.
but a lot of lethal
Okay,
weaponage down there.
there's less than
Officers
lethals. They
saying,
just zoomed in
and
next to the
looks like
633
finally
unit.
got
There's a
control
giant
over
green
that
shotgun. That's less than
the
lethal.
90
The others were
here
not
at
green.
Mindanao.
They were not
There are no
highlighted
traffic
green.
stopped, but they still have some traffic moving
Those are not
across
less
this
than
way,
lethals.
Which, yeah, I was going to say there's probably a unit there as well. So right now, this is usually a very busy intersection. It's going to be a little bit more busy right now. That suspect
Could put, yeah, that's not a bad idea to put some spike strips at the end of the 90 off ramp. Mindanao Way is, if he were to drive into Lincoln Boulevard, that would be
So, all right, so if
as
you're
busy
just
of a
joining
road
us
as
on
we've seen.
GDLA Plus,
Doors
welcome to the 11
open.
o'clock hour.
Again,
We are
here we go.
following the end of a police
Potential
pursuit in
Bearcat.
Marina
Yes,
del
this is a
Rey,
potential for
where the
Bearcat.
90
Oh,
Mindanao
the
Way,
small wave. He
officers
went,
have
oh,
this gentleman
fuck y'all.
who is a
He gave him the
domestic
small
violence
wave.
suspect. It appears that we're in
Gave him the
standoff
too
mode
small.
right now. Authorities trying to negotiate with this man to try to get him, who is clearly in distress, outside of this car.
Right, and you just got back.
Question in the chat, when do they bring out the more than lethals? Anaheim freeway the other night when a suspect is armed. Oh, he does have a driving glove on. He's got like a batting glove. Maybe he's trying out for the Dodgers. It says Los Angeles on the hoodie, and now we're having a real conversation with the cops. There's a riot shield in the front. Oh, they're in formation, right under the 90 graphic. They're in formation. They're going to be led by the riot shield. They get in single file behind the riot shield, and they may approach the vehicle. But if they do that, he might drive away. JPZ says, "Hey Wob, can you say hi to my girlfriend? We're eating Shake Shack right now, watching together. Hello to the Shake Shack duo. Are you a real person? If you are, I hope you're enjoying the chase. I'm watching with my girlfriend too.
There is a passenger there. There is someone else in that car from what we have tried to see through these very tinted windows. Sometimes it seems like, yes, in fact, there is a second person. And
This
other
chase
times
is
it
not
feels
even
like maybe
close
it's
to
just his
over.
maneuvers and emotions
Anytime we
making
pull
it
over,
look as
people are
though
like, oh,
there
when
is
did it
some kind
end?
of altercation
Man,
inside
until we
that
see
vehicle,
fours in the
but if
sky,
that is the case,
until we see
then they have
fours,
to just assume
anything
that,
can
you
happen.
know, the very
Anything. He could
worst of the
drive away
situation.
easily.
They don't want to put someone else's life in danger, so that could be why
You never
it's
leave a
taking
chase.
while to bring this to an end. Do you know, and in generally speaking with these
You and me both,
circumstances, have
Ranger,
they made contact,
watching
or
with
do
our-
they make contact
with our
the
chat.
suspect by phone, maybe try to negotiate with him in that setting?
I don't think it's going to happen that fast. It would be more of a, if this was like a long drawn out.
Hasn't
type of thing,
CBC been so
LAPD has a
true
lot of
this
tricks
week?
in their,
Chases
in their
breed
bag,
chases.
that is
Sometimes
for
we
sure.
go a week and a
And
half
getting
without a
that cell
chase,
phone
and then
for
they
that
all
person
happen
inside
at
that
once.
vehicle is definitely
You
gonna
get
be
one,
them.
it's a
They won't make
snowball, and
those
it becomes an
kind of efforts
avalanche
or
very
until
quickly.
It just becomes like a standoff. And then a lot of
Little
times
Roush
they'll
racing
actually
deal on the
contact
windshield. Maybe
family
this guy
members
is
and
headed
have
to the
family
Ontario
members call.
track.
Maybe
Nick
they
says
try
we
to
saw
talk
that the
some
other day when they
reason into
arrested
that
that guy and the
person.
passenger
But,
took
right
off.
now, it's
And that's a
very much a
lot
standoff.
of,
You got a
wow,
lot
those
of
are
weaponry
real
coming at
weapons,
that
and those are
vehicle.
lethal
And,
weapons,
you're
not
completely
non-lethal.
right. I mean, law enforcement, I've said this many times.
And we are
they're
zoomed
concerned
all the way
about
in Stu
everybody's
Mundell.
safety, even that suspect. But now you
Fine.
add in the
This is
fact that there
Fox.
is
I don't think
most
Stu
likely
zooms
a
out.
female passenger
So
inside that
viewer
vehicle.
discretion
And
advised.
also,
We don't know how
being
this
a
one's going to
passenger,
end because we have
law
not seen it.
enforcement is gonna be
There is
very
potential
careful
for
of
a
what they
very
do and
graphic
how they
ending.
handle this. Is you might have an innocent person basically in the line of fire. So they're right now. They are going to go probably the more relaxed route. They might turn into a standoff. They might actually even be calling for a negotiator. But right now, it's still very tense.
Is that
A lot of these
LAPD
officers
or
coming down
CHP?
off of their adrenaline as well.
Is that
driver still
LAPD?
seems to be a little
I think it's
bit
L-
tensed.
I think it's
Every time he gets
LAPD.
out, he's
I'm not
very
sure.
agitated. You can read that in his body language. But I don't know what those conversations are between the driver and law enforcement. Pretty sure law enforcement is just saying, get out of the vehicle, put your hands up, walk backwards. But that's definitely not happening.
Meantime, it seems like they do have that stretch of the off-ramp.
That door's open.
I suppose the good news here is that particular stretch of road is.
At least they've got the end
yet
towards
out.
Mindanao.
Okay,
Look at
so there
this
is some
log
traffic
jam
behind
coming
there.
off the
Their
90
traffic
in
blocked
Marina
out,
del
but
Rey.
where it's situated
Mindanao
is
Way,
it's
there's some
actually an
intersections there
industrial
with
part
Lincoln
of
Boulevard
Marina
is the
del
heavy
Rey.
thoroughfare.
But Mindanao Way
Fiji. Oh, we're
is
walking.
certainly a
We're
pretty big
walking
thoroughfare.
promiscuously.
It's
Huh?
right now. and
Now we're
Josh
walking. He is not ready to
Police-
surrender. Oh.
Confrontational body language there.
Oftentimes we talk about the fact that domestic violent calls, when it comes to officers, is the most dangerous call they get because people have high emotions.
That was a squabble
At
stance.
times
Wait,
they feel
what are
as
you
though
doing?
They have nothing to lose.
What? What?
Oh,
Ah!
boy.
Ah!
Oh, they're okay. So
Oh, they jump.
yeah,
But he's trying to start the car. He's trying to start the car and drive away.
Or anything like that. You got the other door open.
They're trying. Oh, there's a passenger. Get this person out. She's smoking. She's busy. She's got purple hair. She's got J's on. Protect the pandas. And now they're dragging his ass out. He almost started the car.
This is just physical force. There are no weapons out, no batons, nothing like that. They're just swarming
Look at that
up.
hive.
And now they're going to cuff him. But as far as
That's the entire
there we go. They're
entire
passenger inside that vehicle.
department is on this.
They're probably going to have some
She's still smoking.
who knows what was going on there.
What was
This will
this?
come out
What was
later
the
on
whole?
the
Come on, bring it.
But right now, that
Bring it.
suspect's still wrestling with officers.
Oh, now he's getting a face full of
Definitely in cuffs now.
getting a face full of fence.
Glad it came to an end in the safest way possible, meaning
Are we
other
code
people,
4?
bystanders, including the passenger, seems to not have been hurt. That could have really gone bad quickly. So, we'll
Go
keep an eye
Dodgers,
on
I
it.
guess.
Obviously, Stu's
Man,
been
this guy
here
is
for
not
the
going
play-by-play.
smoothly.
We
Jeez.
are at this time going to take a break, and we'll come back with GDLA Plus, including our guest host this morning.
He is not
We'll be right back.
complying. Wow.
I bought my first model car when I was
Wow. Okay, can well, drop your fours in the chat first of all. Can we go over what just happened there? Why did he get out of the car and go into squabble stance? Bring it on. And then he went flying back to the sanctuary that is the driver's seat. And did he try and turn the keys? So if you're a cop, I'm sure you're trained in that case to go straight for the keys to turn the engine off, as opposed to wrestling to get him out. Because if the car's on, he can hit the gas and just drive and run over all of those cops who are reaching into the vehicle, right? So I'm sure their training is to kill the engine first and foremost. And then the other cops came in and started to yank him away and make it more difficult for him to potentially steer and do any of that. But you have to think those cops are quite exposed when that vehicle, if it wasn't shut off. You feel me? I don't know about any Chicago chase. Is that something that was live today? The only one I see is from 3 months ago. Chicago police chase. I don't think it was live, people. I would have known about it. Just look, upload date. It's just 23 in there. Are you the guy that thought this wasn't a Dodge Charger? As a former police officer, I was trained to pull his feet out as they're running into the car. That would make sense because then they can't hit the gas. I would figure that's keep him from hitting the gas pedal or try and turn the engine off, right? But what about these new cars where you hit a button as opposed to putting a key in an ignition and turning it clockwise? Some of these are just stop starts and you hit the button and it doesn't do anything. Someone in the chat said, busted is better than wasted. That I tend to agree with. That guy getting lit up the other night wasn't the best. So for those of you just joining us, and there's still north of 1,000 of you in here, just as a reminder that there will likely be chases at some point tonight. Throughout the day, it is Friday here in Los Angeles. And if you want to continue to be notified of these chases when they go live. I can't get to every single one exactly when they're happening, but we don't watch the endings. So we watch it obviously as if it's live. at Skywab Alerts in the top left corner of your screen. On Twitter, follow that account, turn on your notifications. On Twitch as well, here, follow the account, turn on your notifications. Some of these chases last 5 seconds, sometimes they last 5 hours. Birdsintheair.com for merchandise. And before we go as well, I will be live with my Monday, Wednesday, Friday show on Twitter around 3:15. I need to run out really quickly, but I will be back to talk about hoops and everything else. If you want to keep talking about these chases, it's a direct Q&A, so you can find me on Twitter at WorldwideWob. We will be back at 3:15 Pacific time then. But yes, CBC, and I'll be on the postgame show tonight as well. So if there is a chase during the postgame show, unfortunately, we'll get to it as soon as I'm able to. But the postgame show should be about an hour and change. Other than that, I should be available. But until then, my friends, I appreciate you stopping through. Everyone who subscribed to the channel today, I'm sorry I couldn't recognize every single one of you. But if you subscribe to the channel, you keep subbing, we keep streaming. Till next time, I will see you on the timeline. Deuces.